Back in 1993, a group of very talented young people would go out and create what could be the most influential game ever, that being of course Doom. But what made Doom so special? In order to answer that, let's go back to a time when ID Software didn't exist, and our main developers, John Romero, John Carmack, Adrian Carmack, not related whatsoever, and Tom Hall, started out working with Softdisk, where they would churn out tons of games made by individual programmers, copy them on a floppy disk, and mailed it out to subscribers. So in a way, it was the Netflix of the 90s, or a Blockbuster, that's better. And during their time there, John Carmack, who is considered to be as one of the best programmers ever, managed to do the impossible, something that no other developer at the time could do. In just a few nights, him and Tom Hall managed to develop a prototype level of Mario. They wanted to pitch the game, which was named Dangerous Dave, to Nintendo, but you know how that went, right? They rejected the game, but because of that, he had become pretty famous and gained some fans along the way. One of those fans would be Scott Mueller, the owner of Apogee. John would later contact Scott in order to publish a Mario type of game, and he accepted the offer, and from there, Commander Keen was made. And the game sold pretty well, making around $30,000, which in comparison of today, that's $70,000. Throughout the following years, they would continue to make more Commander Keen games, but John Carmack, being the beast that he is, wanted to focus on developing anything that hadn't been done before. Like in Catacombs 3D, even though it wasn't popular, it was the first time ever that the game included a hand when firing spells, and that was realistic. While Adrian Carmack wanted to create a more gory, bloody and cruel world environments, instead of the cute world of Commander Keen. But they would only have to wait a little bit more for Doom's creation, as before that they would take the mantle of the Wolfenstein games, as Muse Software went out of business and the franchise was passed on to them, and that could be the best thing that ever happened to them. Because of that, Wolfenstein 3D was made, and they made big buck, bringing over $200,000 for 12 months straight, which is $456,021.42 today. So in total today, they would have made $5,472,257.04, which is nothing compared to 2022's Game of the Year winner Elden Ring grossed over $1 billion. After Wolfenstein 3D was done, they wanted to move on with a different game. The first inspiration would come from Dungeons and Dragons, but with demons instead. But they also wanted to make it a futuristic theme, like in Aliens at the time. So why not implement futuristic weapons? Okay, but what about the name? Let's ask Tom Cruise.
Doom.
The first sight of Doom was seen as a leaked demo, and people were super excited for it. And when it was time to release the game on December 10th, 1993, it crashed the university that were holding the servers. Doom 1993 was a trailblazer in the gaming world, being one of the first games to use 3D graphics in a custom game engine called the Doom engine. This allowed for intense, fast-paced action, realistic weapon behavior, and advanced enemy AI features that were groundbreaking at the time, and set the stage for the future of gaming. The game's levels were designed to be non-linear, allowing players for the first time ever to explore and discover secrets at their own pace. This approach to level design helped to create a more immersive gaming experience and gave players more freedom to explore the gaming world. All these features have never happened before in any game whatsoever. During that time, Tim Sweeney, CEO of Epic Games now, said, "When Doom came out, I gave up on programming for a year because it was some unimaginable witchcraft." Doom wasn't done breaking barriers, as they allowed players to create their own assets. This would be known today as modding. Doom was the first sample or attempt at giving the players the power to create their own user-generated content, creating and sharing a wide range of mods such as new levels, weapons, and gameplay mechanics, hence extending the life of the game and keeping it fresh for new players. This would help pave the way for other games in the future to include modding support, bringing the community and players together. Doom also included the ability to play with other players, and even though this wasn't the first game where you could play with friends, this was definitely the first time where you could play against your friends in a mode where they would call it Deathmatch. Doom also had the honor to receive the first ever mature rating from the ESRB for being too violent, too bloody, and having too much realistic blood fluids, only if they could see what it is today. And Doom's popularity didn't end there, as going into 1994, it was reported that Doom was installed in over 10 million computers, which was more than Windows 95 at the time. This gave Bill an idea where he would produce a version of the game but for Windows 95, but he needed a team and a brilliant leader. And of course, who would you go for if not Gabe Newell? But while Gabe was at Microsoft, he realized that he wanted to make his own gaming company to produce his own games. So yeah, if it wasn't for Doom, Valve or Steam wouldn't exist. Doom made Gabe realize that gaming was the future of entertainment. But not everything was perfect for Doom. There is one aspect even people today would complain, saying that the game has no story, but that was actually intentional. In fact, Carmack stated that story in video games was like story in a P, expected but unimportant. Some of you would know what P stands for. The phenomenal success of Doom spawned a wave of imitators, and it was only a matter of time before this army of Doom clones invaded the gaming world, and they arrived with such speed that they earned their own distinct identity within the industry, leading to the rise of a new genre: first-person shooters. So yeah, Call of Duty and Battlefield are Doom clones. So you know how Doom was so influential, but it also inspired future game developers like Harry Tisley with Half-Life and Robin Walker for Team Fortress. Even ID developers like Tom Hall would go and create Duke Nukem 3D and Prey. Mike Wilson go and found a gathering of developers, and later on he would found Devolver Digital. Savvy Peterson would help with the Age of Empire 2 expansion, and John Carmack would do all the Quake games, more Doom games including 2016 Doom, and he would go on and help with the creation of the Oculus Rift. John Romero with Tom Hall founded Iron Storm and would develop games like Deus Ex and Thief, two very influential games by its own. So yeah, from popularizing the concept of deathmatch to being the reason the FPS genre was created, when it comes to the question of what is the most influential game ever, while there are a lot of games out there that are influential and everyone has a different answer to that question, some games are just more influential than others, and Doom is definitely one of them.